Questions from councillors? Councillor Mulroney.
Unfortunately, Councillor Hart has had to go because he is feeling very unwell, so I am going to ask his questions for him. But I would point out that I gave notice to the locum that I will be repeating all the unanswered questions that I've had over the last 2 meetings, together with, and I'm sorry that it's going to take a bit of time, over the course of the meetings and at Finance and Governance and at Community and Culture. And please don't tell me Councillor Flewitt's not here so he can't answer the questions. Where they haven't been referred to elsewhere in the agenda. And I've suitably amended them where something has changed in the interim. So the first question is, we now know that the issues relating to the potential fraud were totally unfounded. The flower baskets appeared to have been an issue at that time, and I think it was felt that the baskets were poor and should not be paid for, but there was some sort of view that the money had gone astray. Were you aware that the town clerk had in fact refused to pay for the flower baskets because she felt that they were substandard and that no transaction actually took place? Why were the facts like this not checked before anyone spoke on the matter? Will you now give a public apology to those concerned at this council now, including the town clerk, because by implication she was involved, on the website, in the media, and personally to each member of staff, particularly the financial officer, the town clerk, and to Mrs Stratton, the financial officer, on the website, in the media, social media, and individual apologies, and I think that should be from yourself and from Councillor Ajib. You agreed to do this on the 8th of November, but as far as I am aware, nothing has happened to that effect. And can I then continue with Councillor Hart's comments? Speaking on behalf of Councillor Hart, as you know is unwell, his comments are supported by myself and Councillor Bowley. He calls on Councillor Ajib to resign and to reimburse the council for the unwarranted cost of the audit. It may interest you to know, if you don't already, that a petition has been running since the weekend asking if a Leigh Town Councillor who makes an unfounded and damaging allegation should resign. So far, in 3 days, it has accrued 350 signatures, and it's rising all the time. And that's just 58 short of the number that voted for a winning candidate in Thames Ward. That's my first question.
Councillor Mulroney, you make reference to a report that was published in confidence. I have not seen the report, so I cannot comment on what you claim to be the findings of this report. I was not present at that meeting. It was a confidential item. I have not seen the report. I just want that noted.
It was not a confidential item. It was moved from confidential to public.
Yes.
So that is not correct.
The agenda stated it was confidential. I did not attend that meeting under the impression it was confidential. It has not since been circulated to council. If it is no longer confidential, that should be circulated to all councillors so we can comment accurately.
I take what you're saying. That item originally was on the confidential part, but before the meeting it was moved into the open part, and the result of the auditor was referred to and explained in the open part of the agenda. So what you're actually telling me is that your own chairman hasn't bothered to tell you that what the result of the report is.
I have not seen the report. Like I said, it has not been circulated.
Well, I can bring it in.
You should find out the results.
Thank you, Councillor.
The report was that there was no fraud of any description.
I'm sure that those minutes are going to go out because that's going to go in the minutes. minutes of the Finance Committee, Councillor Rowley. So they will be available.
What about the apologies? What about the apologies? This is people's lives you're messing around with here.
One of those matters you're asked about remains a confidential matter due to a staffing issue, and obviously that will be.
I've only asked about the
But obviously-
audit report.
Publicly accused them of fraud. How is that confidential?
Publicly apologise.
Public participation is now over. So.
Okay, I'm not going to get a motion. Move to my next question, please.
Yes, Councillor Rowley.
Thank you. Right. I also asked in October for unequivocal confirmation that Leigh Town Council and the Leigh Community Centre and all its various assets and activities will remain unaltered except for any genuinely consulted on, debated and agreed changes that are beneficial to the people of Leigh. I've never received an answer to that. Things have moved on since then. In the newspaper some 10 days ago, a report was published of a discussion between yourself with the leader of Southend City Council. The leader of the City Council, and I quote, stated he had had an approach from Leigh Town Council. He obviously thought that is what he had. Where is your authority to speak for Leigh Town Council on any matter, let alone on something as important as this? No councillor can do so without the appropriate authority. Standing Order 26, which refers to our media policy, also refers to our media policy. This was reviewed recently, and you were here, so you must be aware of it. For some reason, it's been removed from the website. But I know that it makes very clear that, as always has been the case on Leigh Town Council, if you speak to the press, which obviously you did, if you speak to the press, you give it as a personal comment, not as purported to be on behalf of Leigh Town Council. You had no authority to do that. No officers at Southend City Council were aware of these discussions, and you made great play in the Echo about this, so obviously they weren't secret discussions. The City Council leader has executive powers and can talk to anyone he likes. You do not, and you have made it clear this is not confidential by speaking to the press. I'm not here talking about the merits of what you were talking about, I'm not going to go into that, but it's the powers that you have abused in giving or entering into discussions on something which you have not got the authority to do. How did the Echo get the knowledge before your council got the knowledge? I've been questioned on social media with people under the impression that I knew about this and said nothing. I will state here again, I did not know that you were going to be talking to the leader of the City Council on this or on anything. You have put me in an invidious position and I would like an apology, please.
Well, Councillor Mulroney, I would refer you to Standing Order 28D, and I have not committed the Town Council to anything. I am entitled to have a conversation with the leader of the council to get information and background information to bring a motion to council. And obviously it makes sense in the long run to find a secure position for the building to make sure it's secure for the future. I think we'd all agree.
Can I refer you to 28D? 28D. Contact by councillors with principal authority officers, unless authorised by the council or a standing committee, shall be restricted to information and clarification. You didn't approach the officers, you approached the councillor. So that doesn't.
The online version actually does refer to councillors as well. So the hard copy obviously has an issue there because it doesn't.
I have a further question arising from this, okay? Because obviously I'm not going to get an answer on that either.
You had an answer, you don't like the answer, Councillor Mulroney, that's the answer.
The people of Leigh have a right to know. Sorry, I've lost my place now. If you'll bear with me, I'll find it.
Could we have a journal so Councillor Ajit could read the report that he initiated?
We're past public participation. Councillor Mulroney.
Right, okay, I'm back where I found my place. That was to do with the community centre and the Leigh Town Council. And as I say, I'm not passing any comment on what you were talking about because I don't know enough about it to be able to do so. It was the process that I was worried about. And what I'd also like to know is that in the budget for Southend City Council, as you probably know, there are proposals to cut the library estate by, I think it's 2 libraries. Now, you may recall that about 7 or 8 years ago that was proposed in Leigh. And there was a very and at the end of the day, it was it didn't go forward. People Power, for one, spoke. And what I'd like to know is, can you categorically say that you did not speak to the leader of Southend City Council about the position of the Leigh Library?
Can you clarify what you mean by the position of the Leigh Library? This is a wide question.
Very simple.
I've just said to you that the budget proposals for the City Council, which you will be aware of, propose changes to the library estate, which, as far as I can recall, is the potential loss of 2 branch libraries. Leigh is a branch library. I don't know which libraries are being thought about, but I do feel that we ought to be prepared just in case. And I just asked the question, seeing as your meeting was not confidential because you blurred it all to the Echo, did you talk about Leigh Library?
I can say I raised concern about the closure of the library and its future position. Obviously, it's an asset the community wants to keep, so obviously I pointed out that it's not something we want to see closed, we want to see it remain open.
Okay, so then if Leigh Library is on the list, and I don't know whether it is or not,
No, do I?
if it is on the list, you will categorically oppose that, will you?
Yes, we will. We will
Good.
categorically oppose the closure of the
You've got
library.
an answer there.
Council Road is an important community resource that lots of people use. It has obviously a high footfall and we don't want to see it closed.
Yes, I know, but you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Right, what else have I got? Yes. These are